Hi everyone, Marlene here, and thank you for joining me. Welcome to my channel. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content, and give me a sense of whether you like the subject matter and maybe make suggestions as to what else you would like me to talk about. Today's message, I wanted to look at our motivation for taking action. I've realized that through various phases and stages of our lives, our motivations change. In my own experience, earlier on in my life, I was very motivated by the need to prove myself to family, to parents, to employers, to lecturers. And really establish in the minds of others what my value and my worth is. And so because of that being the motivation for my need to take action, I was able to achieve much of what I had set out to achieve. It even led to me starting my business as a means of proving to myself and to others that I was capable of more than I was being exposed to in my work situation at the time. And at that phase, I did achieve a lot of satisfaction from the goals, the progress that I was able to garner. However, I realized that as we progressed through life, the vehicle that brought us to a certain point is not necessarily suitable to take us to whatever the next milestone is in our lives. And so, because I had achieved so much success and fulfillment and joy, using this stick of proving myself to others, I thought that that would be and would continue to be the most ideal and most appropriate motivator for achieving anything else, making whatever other changes I would want to make in my life. But there came a point where I realized that motivation from outside, whether it be other people, whether it be some future state that I wanted to achieve, was no longer providing me sufficient power, sufficient amplitude to reach the goals, to reach the heights that I had set for myself. And so it led to a period of significant confusion for me because I just wasn't able to get unstuck. I wasn't able to find direction. I wasn't able to find anything that worked for me in a meaningful or sustainable way, whether it was making changes in my business, changing direction in my business. I just felt completely stuck and unable to see any way out. And so I think that when we reach such a place where everything that used to work for you no longer works, we can either, well, I think it's natural that we would go into some kind of depressed state where we just feel lethargic, we feel unmotivated, we feel unable to accomplish our goals really. And I obviously experienced that phase. where I felt completely lost, and completely at a loss for how to proceed, where to find answers, and even what the next step could possibly be. And so I think that when we find ourselves in that place of what used to work no longer works, I think we have the choice of either I'm just going to bear down and push harder at this thing that used to work but doesn't seem to be working any longer. And so that choice to bear down and just push harder, hustle harder, often leads to burnout. It leads to the development of physical illness and conditions, and we become even more entrenched in this stuckness that we find ourselves in. I think that there is another way to respond to that state of stuckness and indecision and lethargy and confusion. And that is to lean into the I don't know-ness of the situation, to lean into the fact that I have traveled a certain route, certain distance, I have reached certain milestones, and now I am apparently lost. And I think there's nothing worse than being in a vehicle with someone who is clearly lost, but refuses to admit it. And so they continue to drive around pretending that they know where they are. If I just take this route, if I just go down this road, and they don't even see that they are circling the same neighborhood over and over. They're burning fuel, they're exhausting themselves, and they're irritating and frustrating everybody else along with them. However, I find that a wise driver, after recognizing that maybe I'm not making the progress that I want to be making, should pull over to the side of the road, maybe take a breather, and get a sense of direction, get a sense of where am I exactly. And so I think it's important in our personal lives, in our journey, whether it's career or business or family, to when we get to that place of recognizing that we are lost, to just take a step back and rest a bit, to take a step back and examine, how did we get to this place? What is this situation, the circumstance, trying to show me about what lies ahead, about where I come from, about who I think I am, about what is possible for me? Because I think that very often we think that what the goal we had set 20 years ago or 30 years ago or even 10 years ago, the way forward is just an escalation of that same goal. However, we will often see that when we take the time to examine our current circumstance, we might in time become aware that maybe life is trying to show me that there is a new route, there is a new exit that I need to take, which might be very different from what I imagined my life would be. So in the case of a career, you might feel stuck in your career, and maybe the next step is to go into business, but not necessarily business as it relates to the job that you were doing. Maybe it's starting a business with regards to some kind of passion you might have, whether it be baking or sewing or gardening or just giving advice to people or anything. But because I am so married to this idea of being an executive or a CEO or whatever my career has been up to now, I'm almost closed off to receiving any information or any details about this new off-ramp, this new change in direction that life is trying to show me. And so all of this to say that sometimes being stuck is not necessarily a bad thing. I think very often it is just life, God giving us an opportunity to take stock of where we come from, of what our experience has been up to now, and to ask the question, what is next for me? And not assume that because we've walked a long road in one direction, that what's next is a continuation along the same road. Perhaps life is trying to tell me that coming up ahead in a few kilometers is an off-ramp, and it would be a good idea if we took that off-ramp. I think that very often we choose not to listen to life because we are so afraid of what the new possibility, what the new opportunity might require of us. Am I even up to the task of being a business owner? And then again, we need to examine, what do I think being a business owner is about? What are my perceptions? What are my beliefs about being a business owner? What do I understand about serving others? Do I see business as a mean, hard, brutal pursuit of profit? Or do I see business as a way of fulfilling my purpose in life and serving others in expanding their own purpose? And as a result of that exchange, there could be profit in it for me. So in my experience, that is what I have found, that when life is urging you or nudging you towards an off-ramp that you maybe didn't plan for yourself, the wise move is to step back, evaluate where you are, evaluate your assets, your skills, your resources, and look at where you think life is calling you to. And very often you will see that the new off-ramp is almost an invitation to explore who you've become up to now in a completely different context, in a completely different way. And very often, it's a much more expansive and invigorating exploration of who you are. And so the title of this video is about taking action. And I feel that when we listen to what life is asking of us, when we listen to what life, God, is showing us about what's next for us, we are being called to take action from a place of, number one, not knowing, not being sure, and number two, a place of surrender, surrendering to life, surrendering to God, and trusting that what you are being called to has His full backing, has His full support, and that the best way to lean into that is to lean completely on God in supporting you in this new endeavor, in this new off-ramp, whatever it may look like. And yes, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of personal investigation that we need to do. There's a lot of getting to know yourself on a level that you might not previously have been aware of. But all of that is instrumental in the journey that lies ahead, in the new road that is being charted for you. So I hope that this message encourages you in your journey and in your possible place of stuckness, in your possible place of, I don't know how to move forward. Nothing seems to work for me right now. So I would encourage you to lean into the fact that you don't know. And when you admit that you don't know, life will show you answers. God will show you answers that will help you determine your next step. So thank you guys for listening. And if you enjoy this content, please like and subscribe. And I hope to see you at the next video. Thank you.